Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly values, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of The Crimson Cure, and this is my perspective. Even though there's a video sitting here, I'm not going to play it because at this particular juncture, I'm not super interested in playing the contents of this video. But this is a still shot from the interview that Michelle Obama is doing with Taraji P. Henson. So I may circle back to this at some point. But today, I'm not really concentrated on whatever the subject matter is that they're discussing. And they're discussing a couple of different things. I'm here to sort of comment on the general theme here that's happening. Mrs. Michelle Obama now has a podcast, okay, which is probably going to blow up. She's already over 100,000 subscribers at this point, which you would expect because of who she is. It also should not come to anyone's surprise about the subject matter of this podcast or what this podcast is setting itself up to be. I gotta say, I don't know if disappointed is the word for it, because disappointment would assume that I had a better expectation, and I didn't have any expectation at all. I'm not having a problem with her having a podcast. Many people are coming into the podcast space. It can be a fun space to be in. It is a space that you create. You create the energy, you create the atmosphere of it, whatever you want your podcast to say, whatever kind of audience you want it to have, whatever kind of vibe you want it to have, you're able to craft that, and that's kind of the beauty of it. So I'm not mad or feeling no type of way that she actually has a podcast, right? There are a lot of people who were public figures before, whether they were entertainers, whether they were in politics space, whether they were in a news anchor space, who now have their own lane as people who run like YouTube channels and other channels on like social media platforms. I think the issue with it is the subject matter. This is just another podcast where older women can come complain and be hyenas. That's the issue I'm having with it. Did we need yet another space, another quote unquote safe space where women could come and so-called be vulnerable? But that vulnerability includes complaining about not having traditional outcomes when you didn't want to be a traditional woman, complaining about the responsibilities and the outcomes of the life that you did choose, complaining about what you had to sacrifice or what you had to give up, or complaining about the times where you had to be selfless and the whole world is supposed to feel so sorry for you because you're a woman and you had to go through life, and going through life called for sacrifice. Sometimes it called for not getting everything that you wanted. It called for, not going your way all the time. And it called for you not always having, this super euphoric experience about everything. Life happened to you. You live life, right? And I'm saying older women because she's older. And the women she's interviewing, Taraji, Tracy, these are older women. Because Mrs. Obama herself is talking about, what her years spent as being the first lady took out of her. And I'm sure that it took some things out of her. I'm sure that that was not a very easy thing, because even though it's a background role and she's not in the front, there's a lot for her to do. There's a lot of image keep up. There's a lot of just, you know what I'm saying? I can imagine that there are a lot of different pressures that are not present in a marriage that didn't have that responsibility attached to it. So I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of concessions made on her end. I'm pretty sure that there were lots of different, things that she didn't necessarily agree with, but this is the station of life that you're in. This is where you are. Other people are depending upon, these decisions and things of that nature. So you're not the only person that has to be considered here. And not only are you not the only person that has to be considered, you're not even the most important person that has to be considered in various situations or when various things go down. So my thing about that is we didn't need another space for women to come do that. There are plenty of forums, online and offline, for women to open up, quote unquote, about how tough life is, and how tough it is to be a woman. And speaking as a woman, it can be challenging to us. Certain things that we have to do are challenging to us. But at the same time, that's just life, my dear. It's just life. It's just life. Life is tough. Life is tough. Life is not fair. Life is tough. There are lots of times that you're going to be disappointed. There are lots of times you're going to not get what you want, even though you strove for that thing and you sacrificed for it and you made effort towards it and you still didn't get it. There are times that you're going to be in your marriage and it's going to go well, and sometimes it's not so well. People were mad at Michelle when she said there was a time period where she didn't like her husband. I never got mad at that. And the reason that I never got mad at that is because that happens, but you're not supposed to leave. And she didn't, because a lot of women get to those points where I don't like what's going on in my marriage and I project that onto not liking my husband, and then they will file for divorce on the back of that. And it's at those times when your emotions are going through these different things and you're having all of these thoughts and feelings that you have to rein in and you have to wrangle in. That's the time that you actually supposed to stay. So I didn't get mad at that, because she actually did. However she felt or however things were going, the outcome of her staying there through that period, that's what she was supposed to do. That's what a wife is supposed to do. Because I guarantee you, there are times during a marriage where the husband do not like that wife. He don't like her. Men do not always like you. Okay? Men do not always like the women that they are with. They do not always, it's not always peachy for them. Sometimes they look at you and can't stand you. And they don't necessarily go file divorce papers. Now they may, what men will do, side note, men may not be quick to go sign divorce papers, but what they will do is create such a distance in between you two. Okay, that you be trying to figure out, wait a minute, do he even still know my name? And they'll do it in the same house with you. They'll do everything to push you away. That's the one thing men will do. And I've heard men admit that they won't initiate the divorce, but they do everything to get you to go. Because they don't like you. Or they stop liking you, or whatever the case. So men aren't always 100% happy all the time, especially in a long marriage. They're not always so keen on you from day one to day a million with you. So that's normal. That's actually normal to me. There were times in my first marriage that I did not like my husband. I didn't like him. I didn't like the stuff that was going on. I didn't like how I was being treated, but I didn't leave. And there were times where he didn't like how I was treating him, or how he didn't like things about me either. And it's just like that. It just is what it is. But circling back to this whole podcast situation, the one reason that I'm not really surprised about any of this is because that she has a feminist based, hyena based podcast. It really is because of who she's married to. Having soft sentiments towards the alphabet community and feminism go hand in hand. The alphabet community and feminism has always gone hand in hand. So this is why it doesn't really surprise me that she's got a podcast that's going to focus on all of these different feminist ideals and tropes and ideologies, is because Obama during his presidency leaned heavily in favor of a lot of alphabet community driven pro alphabet things. And like I just said, that and feminism and all of that has always been coming from the same box, right? It's fruit from the same tree. So this is why I'm not surprised. This is why people may be thinking, or like raise their eyebrow, like, why doesn't she have a podcast that deals with something else? And I'm with you on that. Because if I was the former first lady, I'm having a podcast not about these chicks that want to complain about their life. I'm having a podcast that helps somebody do something practical, or that has some value or benefit to a wider range. I'm at least having a podcast sharing wisdom that I've learned. What did I learn during my time as a first lady? Not the things that I want to complain about, but what did I learn? How did it help me grow? You know, what were some of the lessons learned coming out the other end of it? Who was I when I went into it versus who was I at the end of that? And did it make me a better person? Did it make me a better wife? Did it make me a better mom? Did it make me, you know what I'm saying? Like, dispense some wisdom. And that's the thing a lot of females do not do. They'll get on, they talk about the men and the podcast mics, but the women be getting on the podcast mics and they don't share no wisdom. Women used to have wisdom. Women used to go through life, and whatever decisions that they made, especially when they get older and they start talking, they usually like, listen, this is what happened, and young ladies don't do that, or da 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 da, whatever the case may be. But having this sister girl, this older auntie sister girl thing that you got going on, it's unnecessary. It's really an unnecessary thing, because it's not like she's creating a new space or a new niche. This is the same old regurgitating, just older, and quote unquote, they're not ratchet, and they're not, you know what I mean? It's not ratchet or whatever. It's calm, but it's the same stupid mindset being displayed. And it's just tiring. Anyways, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your host, this is the Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.